Welcome to the latest edition of Akashic Portal Weekly. We're looking at the week of June 8th through the 14th, 2020. What a time we're in, right? This is an amazing time to be alive. It is also taking a lot of expectation of us to grow into a new place, to listen if we are the ones that have been privileged to listen and to hold space, so allow those that are grieving to speak. I know this grieving is impacting all of us. I can feel the energy of it. I also consider it a great honor to be able to grieve, or at least to hold space for those that are truly grieving because of their own experiences. There's not a judgment on anyone, but I believe that when we are all equal, when we all treat each other kindly, with love and decency, that we all gain. So this is an amazing opportunity to kind of go beyond the grief and change things so that we can move away from the way it's been. I think that's the spiritual way. It's why I'm here, and it's it's something we have to all do together. So let's see what the cards have to say, right? I do know the end of this week, just energetically, things are building up and building up and building up, and you have to strengthen your resolve. You have to really come to what is true for you in your heart, and be aware that at the end of this week, there's a lot of tension building up. So just pay attention. We're in the eclipse tunnel. We're coming towards the second eclipse on the 21st. And so there's a lot of build-up. There's a lot of people who want to be righteous, right? So, find that spot within you that wants to be righteous and give it over to the divine, right? How can you be humble where you have been righteous? Let's see what the cards have to say. All right, so 31. This card. I love this card because, first of all, it reminds me of my African roots. I was born in South Africa, so I have African in me in the sense of having been born there. And this card reminds me of that. Reminds me of the motherland, the depth of that place. And I feel very tearful today, very tearful. And I'm laughing at not at my tears or at anyone's tears, but I'm actually laughing with joy at being able to have tears, right? To be able to collectively mourn and be in sorrow and kind of recognition of whatever role we played. So I think there's so much healing in this time we're in, so much opportunity. And when I look at this card, I feel that sense of that the earth expresses to us the love that she has for us and the wisdom she holds for us. And the wisdom there is in listening and being who you are, right? Not the labels, not the conditioning, but the real you, who you really are underneath this kind of construction that has been created because people told you you needed to behave in a certain way, you needed to believe certain things so that you could get what was yours or whatever, right? This idea of being angry at others because they're different from us, so that we can put them down is it's a dangerous construct to live with, and it creates so many problems, as we know. So for me, when I look at this card and I see the keeper of the dragon's lair, because this is about the dragons, and the dragons to me represent the sacred passageways between realms. They are the treasure keepers, and they bring us into alignment with the treasure that we have within us and the treasure that exists between us, between all humans, between all the beings, all aspects. And they can travel through realms, these dragons. This tree here is a baobab tree, the African tree that is self-sustaining and lives for hundreds of years, and every part of it can be used. It provides shade, it provides food, it provides longevity. In a sense, it's like, what do we want to leave as a legacy in this time? What are we bringing? What are we fighting for? What do we believe in? What is worth investing heart energy and creative intelligence, leadership into? Because this is the time we're in, where we are changing allegiance. We're moving from being in some kind of servitude to someone else's beliefs, to going, this is what I believe, this is what I'm going to do going forward. And you can see it in the voices around us. It's amazing, people sharing how they feel and really supporting people in groups that they may not have supported before, like everyone coming together in this, which is so powerful. And the treasure keeper with all her the kind of human element, this being, which could be you. I often see her as the wise woman, the wise being that we go to, or the wise one within us. Like that's who we call on to tell us about the wealth that we have right now. Let us look at what we have right now. What is the strength? What is the wealth? What is the magic and the potential of who we are? And let us be lit up and knowing this is what I have. So this is what I'm going to do with what I have, right? How am I going to let my divine light show? How am I going to share my wealth and knowledge with others, right? Because that's the whole point of having things, is that it's a collective experience. If we're alone, it doesn't do much good, right? 31 is one of the genius numbers. It is a number of change, unexpected change. It is something that allows us to be very creative and to go forward in a new way, to express who we are through love, loving ourselves so we can express ourselves, and therefore loving others so they can express themselves too. So there's that sense of freedom, that sense of healing through freedom that is being expressed here and now in the time we're in. So this week is about gathering the strength you have, the awareness of your gifts, the awareness of your true heart, and how you want to be part of the world going forward. Do you want to live in hatred? Do you want to live in love? Do you want to use kindness? Do you want to see more of what? Because this is what we're doing right now. We're in the bones of creation. We are laying the foundation for what we're taking forward. And so each of us, our actions matter, because each of our actions are feeding into the great weaving of the time. And then card number 2, and we got this card last week, the 18. So it's very much a sense of going from being in the cave of wealth, or the cave of spiritual wealth, spiritual awareness, acceptance of self, into the space of being, communicating with the divine, with the thing we are surrendering to. And this card too is making me feel very open, should I say. My heart is open. My heart is cracking open. That's a good thing. I want to be in the same place as everyone else who is feeling the feelings. I want to be there so I can soften and open and change how I respond. And to me, when I see this figure here, in that sense of just being, surrendering to the light, surrendering to the potential, show me what I need to do. Let me be in the truth of who I am, and let me find the healing, and let me be part of the healing, so that I can truly move out into the world with honor. And when I look back in here in the background, it almost looks like there's a figure there who is being recognized. Like it could be a black man in the background. Kind of makes me think about Martin Luther King, the black man in the background, like kind of on this altar of recognition. This is what we need to change. You know, we need to change the way we stop others from moving forward. And of course, the 18 is a 9. It's about endings. It's also very much about, it's a lightning in the background, storm, the stormy energy of what happens when we go through this phase of relinquishing ideas, relinquishing allegiances to things from the past, and just kind of letting go and let ourselves be flooded with this light, with this willingness to open up and just let everything kind of just fall where it may, so that we can really begin to tap into the truth of who we are, the heartfulness of who we are, so we can carry that bowl of compassion for ourselves and others. So powerful, so powerful. This time is such a time. We're in a time of such great freedom if we're willing to pull away from being defensive, pulling away from being right, or needing to put someone else down so that we could be better. And the third card, oops, that's the same card. I put it down. This one's upside down. The 22. So such a powerful card, the 22-4. And just to reiterate, the first card was a 4, and here we have another 4. So we have 4, 9, 4, 31, 18, and 22. Very powerful message in itself. That sense of bringing devotion and divinity to the action of laying a new foundation. So we're being very deliberate. We need to be honest. We need to be in integrity, so that we can actually build a foundation that we believe in. And for me, when I look at this card, this is a card that signifies peace. And to get to the peace, it takes courage, right? It doesn't just fall into our laps. We have to choose to take this more difficult road that is going to reward us, but we have to be willing to go under the bridge, walk through the water, take this kind of, I want to say high road, but really take the path that is less traveled, the path that may be challenging, it's wild, it's unknown, and yet it calls to us. And this path is the path that takes us deeper to the connection of who we are, to our soul, to the meaning of our life, to the joy of being expressed in this life. And there is this opportunity, and I don't know if you can see, but there actually are 4 doves in this picture. And 22 is the number of peace. It's the number of, it's called the architect of peace. It's a number that allows us to design and plan what we're building before we build it. And this is where we are right now. We're planning what we're going to build, and we're having to let go of the things, like maybe the bricks and the pieces that just will not work anymore. We're going to have to break those things down, and so we can start over and do differently and enter the gateway. The 2 is also about finding that connection between us, what joins us, what allows us to receive messages from the divine and to create something on earth, the 2s and the 4s, right? It's about manifesting. How do we create this on earth? We create it by being in those humble places where we're doing the work that's required. Laying down our weapons, expanding our heart, looking at each other in the eye, listening, speaking from the heart, just being like so much more present and so much more gentle, because we know that when the plan is in place, then we will know exactly what to do, and we will just go and build and do, because that's what we have to do, right? We will have to build and build. It's like we're building this magnificence, or whatever we're building. It takes work, right? It takes effort, it takes diligence, it takes this continuous building and building. And like if something isn't working, we kind of, we have to go, okay, this isn't working, I have to do it again. Building a house with bricks, and the foundation, the cement in between, it all has to be just right and smooth. And so what needs to happen so this can all take place, from this idea of what is it that we hold, the riches that we hold, the connection to the divine, to the other worlds, to all the things, the other people, the things we haven't looked at, that we have missed. Now we're sitting with it, so we can begin to build the idea of what we need to surrender to. How do we surrender to the power within us? How do we recognize those that have come before us, or those that are around us, that are leading us to something different? They're opening the doors. They're giving us this possibility of being different. And so how do we step into that place? We don't become, beggars. We become willing participants, allies, working together. What's my part? What's my role? What do I need to know? What do I need to understand in order to serve from a place of gratitude, to fill my own well and be fully expressed, so I don't feel cheated, and therefore I can give willingly to others. And then this one, where we cross the bridge and we do the work. We cross the bridge to create peace. What is it that we need to know and understand in order to divest of our anger, of the habit of treating or ignoring certain things, and really get stuck into doing our part in building this pathway, this gateway, this portal to a new experience. Oops, I don't know how to do that, but here. All right, gorgeous ones. I hope that has some relevance for you, and I'd love to hear what you saw. Maybe you see something completely different in the cards, and that's totally fine. Each of us reads what we read, and none of us is wrong. It's just the choices we make, right? Why are we making the choices we make? Why are we doing the things we do? Why do we say the things we say to ourselves, to others? What are we doing? What are we creating? And why? And how can we get curious about it, and more open and gentle about it, and more fierce when we need to be fierce, when we're kind of connecting to each other with love, knowing that there's a way that this needs to kind of flow. Love to hear your thoughts about this. As I said, I'm Jen Duchene, jenduchene.com. You want to know more about the cards, about me, having readings. I do Akashic readings, healings, teach people how to read the records. I have a monthly group, teach people how to use the cards, the Illuminating Journey cards. Ultimately, I believe that this is the opportunity we've been waiting for. How do you crumble your myth and master the creative you that came here to be expressed at this time? Till next week. Oh, and if you like the video, please subscribe. See you next time.